Hello, I'm Joseph. This story is about what made me love planes so much and started my dreams of becoming a pilot. My story begins on March 8th, 1999, my birthday. I was born in a town called Beaverton, Oregon, not in a hospital, but in a house. As I was just born, my mom wanted to show me off to her whole family. The only problem is that my mom's whole family lives in the Philippines. So my mom, my dad, my two older siblings, and I flew to the Philippines. This was the first time I flew on a plane, but didn't really affect me since I was a baby and couldn't remember anything. So let's fast forward about 5 years when I could actually remember stuff. Back when I was 5 years old, I lived in Portland, Oregon. My mom was packing me and my sister's bags to be on our way to the Philippines. My parents decided to live there for about a year. I remember being extremely excited for the flight to the Philippines. As far as I knew, it would be the first time I would fly on a plane. As me and my family got through airport security, we walked towards our gate to see our plane already there. The plane looked huge with its two-leveled seating. I was completely amazed by the plane. I was even more happy when I got the window seat. I buckled into my seat to get ready for takeoff. As the plane was going towards the runway, I was starting to get a little nervous. We lined up and we started to go faster and faster until I felt that we were off the ground. My first takeoff was completely thrilling for me. I was looking through my window and saw Portland in a whole new way. We just kept on getting farther and farther away from the ground. I just kept staring out of the window, and soon enough we hit the ocean, and that's all I would see for the next 14 hours. I wasn't bored on the plane though. There was TVs on the back of every seat. Since we left at nighttime, everyone fell asleep, but I stayed up and watched movies. Many hours later, the pilot announced to everyone that the plane was ready for descent. It was pretty cool to see the plane slowly descending from the window. I was looking at the city through the window, and we were a few feet off the ground, and then we landed, and the landing was actually pretty smooth. We got out of the plane and I was expecting to leave the airport, but it turns out we were actually in Tokyo, Japan. Even though Manila was another 4-hour flight south, we had a half-day layover in Tokyo, so my family left our luggage in the airport and we went to the city. Tokyo was huge and there was tall buildings all around us. We still had to get through airport security again, so we went back to the airport a few hours before our flight. We boarded our plane and I felt that same awesome takeoff and landing sensation. That was the first time I could remember on flying a plane. I was pretty excited to meet all my family in the Philippines. They picked us up and we bought a house across the street from theirs. Our family had a lot of vacations to different islands of the Philippines, so we flew even more. After a year of living in the Philippines and going to school there, me, my mom, and my two sisters flew back to the US. The flight was fun, but I realized I wasn't in Portland anymore. I was in San Francisco. I was about 6 and I didn't know at the time, but my mom introduced me and my sisters to a new guy who happened to be my new stepdad. I had no idea what a stepdad was or what divorce was, so it didn't really emotionally impact me. Me, my mom, my sisters, and my new stepdad moved back to the Philippines after a year living in San Francisco. So we hopped on a plane and had a fun flight back to the Philippines. I spent first grade in the Philippines and learned how to speak Tagalog, which was useful. While we were in the Philippines, we flew to even more islands. After about 10 months in the Philippines, we flew back to San Francisco and my little sister was born there. A little over half a year later, we moved to Sacramento. Since my dad lived in Portland, we would fly to him every Thanksgiving break, winter break, spring break, and spend 2 months in Portland during summer break. My mom would bring us to the airport, take us to the gate, and me and my sisters would fly as unaccompanied minors. The first time I flew without my parents was pretty scary, to be honest. I was only about 7 years old after all, but every time I would be happy to see my dad. He was the greatest dad to have ever lived and actually spent a lot of time with us. After flying 100 times, meeting many pilots, and having the love to travel, I knew that one day I would be a pilot and fly one of those really expensive big planes. It's the only job I see myself doing. My first time flying, along with all those other times flying, is what made me love planes so much. I know with hard work and dedication, I will be able to make my dreams of flying and traveling around the world come true. Thanks for listening to my story.